Welcome back to AI Meets Reality. Today, I am very excited to introduce our guest, Erica Albert. Erica is the program strategist for Major and Principal Gifts at ALSEC, the fundraising and awareness organization for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Her work at St. Jude helps fuel the mission of St. Jude, where families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, and their only focus is to help children heal, which is exactly how it should be. But Erica herself is so much more than the title. She's an avid hiker who finds clarity and grounding in the outdoors. She's a cancer survivor whose strength inspires us all. And on a personal level, she is an absolute dear friend. She is a thoughtful, generous, deeply insightful in a way that just stays with you long after a conversation with her ends. Erica, I am so grateful you are here with us today. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Kirsty. And the feeling is very much mutual. You are an inspiration to our friend group.
Well, we're so glad to have you on here, and we're going to really talk and dig into what you're doing at St. Jude and AI and all of the just the great things that are happening in your organization. So, for those that aren't aware of what St. Jude is and the
Sure,
amazing things it does for families, just give us a little bit of an overview.
sure. A lot of people have seen St. Jude. It's a really well-known brand, but once you peel that back, this hospital is unlike anywhere I've ever been. And it gives all of our patients such a sense of hope because oftentimes St. Jude is where kids and families go when there's not as many other options. We partner with so many local hospitals and regional hospitals and big hospitals all over the globe, and we're really trying to advance cures and patient care to treat our sickest kids, those kids that have pediatric cancer, those kids that have sickle cell disease, and really some other really rare genetic diseases. And we are the place that they go to find that hope. And it is true, no family receives a bill for anything.
Yeah, which is really, I mean, you have people that are living there in the apartments. And I know that when I toured, it's just really impactful to see all the support that's given beyond even the patient care.
Yeah, it's one of those things, especially this time of year. There's so much going on in the world. It's so nice to see healthcare delivered in such a way that honors there can be healthcare equity, and we really can treat all patients, all kids there.
Yeah, and I think right now in this moment, you think about just advancements and AI and how fast everything's moving, you have a chance to absolutely change the world. And so tell me a little bit, you've got a very interesting path. You're not just at St. Jude for a job. You are at St. Jude not only to change the world, but because they themselves have inspired and helped you. So tell us a little bit about your deeply personal connection to St. Jude that goes back to your own experience.
Yeah, you can definitely say it's rare to find your dream job. And working in major and principal gift fundraising is my dream job. I'm sure my mom and dad were thrilled when I said that's what I wanted to do when I went to college, but it made total sense. So many, many years ago, it's now more than I care to share. But at the age of 13, I was diagnosed with a really rare form of pediatric cancer called Ewing sarcoma. And in the 90s, and even really now, a lot of your local physicians, they're really not going to treat that many patients who have cancer, especially a really rare form of cancer. I grew up in Bloomington, Indiana, for context. So, um, we didn't know what to do. Our local hospitals didn't know what to do. So when they found the tumor that was wrapped around my spine, they sent samples of that all over the country. And St. Jude was the only hospital that responded. So around this time of year, it was in December, my family and I made the journey to St. Jude. We spent about a week there, and you get the news that you don't want to hear at any age, but certainly um, now that I'm a mom, I would never want to hear that about my child.
Of
You have
course.
cancer.
Yeah.
So I spent a year and a half. on and off on campus, living at the Ronald McDonald House, in receiving high dose chemotherapy and radiation. But it was also a magical time in my life. I may have lost my teenage invincibility, but I learned what was really important. And I've had my first kiss at St. Jude. I went to prom at St. Jude. And I met a lot of my friends who were going through similar things that I was going through. Unfortunately, not all of them made it. And it still to this day drives what I do. And I knew I wanted to be able to give back to St. Jude in some way, shape, or form. But I found out real quick it was not going to be a doctor or researcher or nurse. And the way that I could give back is working on building awareness and raising funds for St. Jude. And so, 11 years after I graduated from college with a degree in nonprofit management and fundraising, I came back to work at ALSAC, and I am thrilled to work with some of our donors in a really relational way. So it's quite interesting that you would ask me to speak about AI when my job is about really making personal connections with people.
Yeah, not losing the human touch,
That's
which
right.
is all of what we're talking about and fearful of, and your job really resides on connecting. But you also, and I will talk about a lot of use cases, you use that throughout your whole day. So tell me now. So you are a program strategist for
Yep.
major principal gifts. How do you describe that role? Walk us through what a day in the life of Erica Albert looks like right now, outside of the morning hike and taking
There
the
is a
dog.
morning hike. I use AI for a lot in my day-to-day world, but there's nothing more valuable than that off the screen thinking time. And then I may bring that thinking back and use AI to help me figure out more. How do I dive deeper into this topic? But there's never been a time where I haven't valued really deep thinking time off screen. So my hiking is my thinking time. That's right. So I'm starting the day like that. When I'm not traveling, when I'm traveling, I'm trying to walk. But this time of year, I'm meeting one-on-one with donors. So Friday I was in traveling, and I had a chance to have dinner with two donors that visited campus earlier in the year, and were really thinking about what they wanted to do next. What kind of project did they want to wrap their arms around at St. Jude and really feel like they're a part of, and for their family to be a part of, and feel like they're making a difference? So that was my day was traveling, meeting with a team member who's trying to build out a strategy for that area involving donors. So I was with her all day, and then I had about a couple hours to prep for this long donor visit over dinner. So I was using by the poolside. I was actually using Copilot, and I fed it a couple documents, a couple proposals that we had done, and I was looking at a project that this donor had done in the past. And I was asking it to summarize some talking points for me so that I could focus mostly on getting them to do the majority of the talking. But I did use that to help me prep for this visit.
Yeah, I imagine that prep time for you is a big piece, the research, the actually knowing to connect on, what they care about, and how many donors are you and your team talking to a year?
Right now we've had about so we're on a fiscal year. We've had about 5,000 donor visits one-on-one.
And the donor base that you have is 12 million or so. Was that right?
It's growing.
Yeah.
With St. Jude's Reach, really the largest donors, the vast number of donors give that $19 a month, that $30 a month. So there's so many people involved in every state. It is hard for us to identify those donors that might want to engage with us one-on-one.
Yeah. And you have millions of donors that you have information access to, trying to prioritize through who to contact and when and what your message is going to be. So it sounds like using Copilot in the background to be able to do some of those things is a key piece so that you
I'd
do
say
have more of
using
that thinking.
Copilot, that's right, Chris, using Copilot once we have an established relationship with someone who really does want to make a bigger difference. We're there to partner with them. Most of these donors have already been giving to St. Jude for many years. Their families have been involved. Maybe their mom or dad watched Danny Thomas sitcom, Make Room for Daddy, or Marlo Thomas. So they've been generations of giving. And so we're trying to figure out who does want to engage with us. And once they do want to engage with us, how do we spend the majority of our time building a relationship with them rather than figuring out how to summarize a really long research study that our hospital might publish on an important topic for the donor, but that's hard for us to understand. So I've gotten better at prompts over the year. In fact, one of the classes that you delivered to our local community helped me recently. So I got better at prompt building. And this last one I used, I said, pretend you're a research writer who can translate complex information into layperson's terms. So I was already giving it a better prompt, and I said, tell me how I would explain what we're doing in brain tumor research. And it's vast in brain tumor research. It's an area of focus for us because right now the survival rates in brain tumor research really haven't improved as much as some of our other types of cancer, like leukemia. So that's a focus area. There's a lot of research, and I needed to be able to explain it in a couple minutes in a loud dinner setting, in a way that a donor could understand who
Yeah.
doesn't have any research background.
No medical background at all. And
Yep,
even be in your position with also not a ton of medical background to then
that's
explain
right.
it is,
Just on the patient side.
yeah, I could see those Copilot and just working with AI being a very long, like, okay, but how do I explain this? And then actually
Yep.
even prepping you and pretending to be a donor of a certain background and history and role playing. There's probably a lot of opportunity there.
There's a lot of opportunity, but the more we can use AI to help us be more authentic in person, help us
Mhm.
get down those talking points so that when we're there, we can really be present and we can be in the moment with them, and we don't have to worry about a 5 minute talking points about this particular program. It's more about what they want to do.
Well, and that AI kind of can work against you in some of these situations, I think, too, right? Talk a little bit about the struggles that you've had and the risk that we have around people getting more used to robotic phone calls and that being an issue on your side. I know you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, it's actually, we were prepping for this call, and I was just saying, here's what our teams experience now. We have a few team members that do what I do across the country, and that's meet, like I said, one-on-one with donors. So imagine these donors are also getting, every time they call into a call center, AT&T, they're calling into Best Buy or whatever, they're getting that automated person to start with.
Hmm.
Okay, and so they're
The
used to
15
that
spam
now.
calls I've gotten today on my
Uh,
cell phone, right?
right,
All those.
they're getting that. Well, we're actually calling to say thank you because someone has given for, let's say, 15 years, and we haven't had the chance to call and actually say thank you. So now, once we, and if we do get someone to pick up the phone
Yeah.
versus like responding to a text or something. So if we get past that point, even, they're not actually asking us several times, are you a robot? Are you a robot? Are you a am I talking to a real person? So we're having to say, yes, this is really Erica Albert. I really work for St. Jude. And so there's that barrier because people really do want those authentic connections.
Yeah, it's like a human reCAPTCHA that you got to get across. I don't even like how did they even get through that, right? They just like wiggle around like no, I you just have to keep repeating it. Like
Right.
how that's really difficult. And that's just for you to say thank you, let alone.
Right. And so there's several barriers that we have to get over. So anytime we can use AI to kind of reduce the amount of time we're prepping. But as a leader and a program strategist, I'm then asking, what can I do on the back end to say, really, if we have that many donors who want to be engaged and involved in some way, they're giving, they feel like they want to give back, they're involved, they're all the reasons. How can I find a needle and a stack of needles quicker for someone who might really appreciate that phone call to say thank you? And
Hmm.
that's where we really, even a couple years ago, said, how can we use machine learning? How can we use a data robot to kind of sift through and say, these are the donors who are saying they want to do more? How can we find more donors like that within your database who may want that sort of relational attention?
Yeah, and you're using AI models to be able to find certain attributes. Maybe talk a little bit about what an example attribute you might be using to predict is and how that feeds into your process and how you change your approach.
Yeah, I always want to relate it back to the real person and why they might actually be engaged in St. Jude. I mean, you can apply it to whatever company you're working for. So think about this as like you're taking personas per se. So when I think about giving, I think about a lot of the donors who give to St. Jude are giving because they want to help kids.
Hmm.
They're giving because they want to help kids have a whole lifetime ahead of them. And oftentimes, I find in my personal experience with working with our donors, some of these individuals don't have kids themselves. They're child free. And they've made that life choice. Something has happened to their own personal family. They've experienced their own tragedy. Um, and so that is one of our personas. And also, that's a persona in the philanthropic space that typically gives more because they're not putting kids through college. As we know, both you and I, kids can be
Hey,
expensive.
gee. Yeah.
But they want to have a way to carry on legacy and feel like they're really making a difference. And so we do try to identify people that may be child free and may want to engage with us and leave a different kind of legacy to St. Jude. So that is something, but it's typical, it's hard to find in the data that exists out in the world.
Yeah, and you would think if you have enough data, I know there's always the stat that I hear, if you have 100 data points on someone, which every Facebook, social media, almost any company probably has on us already anyway, they know you better than your spouse knows you, which does not surprise me, right? But I think, even some of the data that you would expect that you would have to be able to predict using an AI model, is this person child free or do they have children? You would think that that might be easier than it is, but that's been a struggle to be able to get enough accuracy in those models as well, because even if you do create it, it can't be 75% accurate. You go into a donor call with an understanding of one direction, and now you've got to completely shift your strategy in real time. So the accuracy in some of the models that you're building, even on the fundraising side, are really important.
It's that where you balance the art and science, I think.
Yeah.
I think what a good model can do is tell us this is what we think, but you're always going to want to test it,
Hmm.
just like you want to test anything that you research on Copilot. So we might use a model to give us some sort of reasonable prediction that this person might be child free, or they might have these attributes that may want to contribute more, may want to engage more. But we're still going to have that human component, at least at the relational end, or we may do some additional testing before we assume that that is correct.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we have to think about as a charity and as a large nonprofit is what is ethically right kind of data for us to have or keep on file. And a lot of the privacy laws keep changing. So we really err on the side of letting the donor bubble themselves up, but also can we just use this as a strategy predictor?
Hmm.
Can we use it to drive behavior? Can we use it to drive some additional testing that we can do on the back end? But we know no data model is perfect.
Yeah, it really, I mean, it does speak to, I think we're going to get very comfortable with AI in general and not validating it. I'm so comfortable with just talking to it and asking it and running and taking
Uh-huh.
something. And I said this yesterday too. The other day I put a PDF in that had a very simple stat in there. Like I could have control F and found that number.
Right, but you wanted to put it in.
But I wanted it to tell me, right?
Right.
But I put it in and it gave me the wrong number. And thank God I knew that that was the wrong number. But at what point are we going to stop validating and start trusting too much? And that's going to be so easy to do. And I think about our kids and growing up with these tools
Right.
and how we're going to really instill that validation. But it's so important for you and a lot of your initiatives. I mean, talk a little bit about you've got even AI related projects that you're fundraising for, genomics and some of these things. Talk a little bit about that because I think that's really interesting how that side of it's impacting your approach as well.
Yeah, I was kind of putting things in perspective today, thinking about just the passage of time. So let's say back in the 90s when I was a patient, the different experiences, we didn't have Facebook.
Hmm.
Not only did we have Facebook, we didn't have cell phones. So like texting an update to family about how I was doing or even emailing. We didn't have a computer, like completely different. So the type of research we were doing then, imagine like a test tube testing one element or one drug combination against one tumor cell. Like it's one at a time. And it's the same advancements that we've made in technology, like texting, cell phones, computers, all that. That's advanced in research too. So, a really cool project that kind of is the launching point to how we're using AI at St. Jude was something that we asked donors to fund. It was a project that was actually outside of our normal budget cycle, and we said, we really want to sequence the entire genomic structure, the genome of the first of a kid, both a healthy child and a child that has cancer. And we did this when I started working at St. Jude, and so that's 30 years later. Um, and we knew that that project was going to accelerate the rate in which we were finding not one cure to cancer, many cures, and an
Hmm.
iterative curative process over so long that we have ahead of us. But it was started with sequencing the genome. And the way that he described that data to me is that you would take one genome sequence, you could take it from here to the moon if you stretched out 27 times.
Okay.
So imagine that long of a strand of data and
Yeah.
information. Okay. We never had it before for a child. So we partnered with Washington University and we sequenced 700 genomes.
Okay.
And that was the first launch of that study. And donors helped to fund that. So I remember as a major gift officer, I was talking to donors about what this would do. And it was essentially, if you can think about, one doctor told me it's the black box of cancer research. So when a plane has an issue,
Hmm.
they go back and they look at the black box because they're trying to figure out what happened. Why did this happen? Why did this mechanical error happen? We didn't know that about cancer, essentially. So what that was going to allow us to do is really understand the root causes and mutations of these cancers and answer some of the questions like, is this different than an adult cancer? Is this hereditary? Why is this happening? And if it's happening, can we turn it on and off?
Hmm.
So we sequenced 700, and then we said, this was such a success, and we learned so many things that maybe one type of cancer that we thought was just one type was actually seven different types. That should have seven different types of protocols. And then we said we're going to sequence the genome of every patient who comes to St. Jude.
And how long have they been doing that?
Let's see, we started that study 10 years ago.
Well, and that's
So,
really reflective of your survivor experience
yes.
too, right? Even personally for you.
Yes. In fact, I came back. You're a patient for St. Jude for life in different ways, but you're always a patient at St. Jude. They always want to follow the progress because they want to study survivors like me who are now living 30, 40, 50, 60 years cancer free with these drugs. We don't know what the impact of those are going to be. So we want to do these long-term survivorship studies to inform the protocols that are being used today and tomorrow. And they sequenced my genome just a few years ago. So we're all contributing to that larger um, information and data. But now what do we do with it?
Yeah, because now you have more data than we could have ever imagined being able to process
Exactly.
itself. And what And how do you explain that to donors, right? Because now you're explaining what you can do with it, but there's so much AI involved in that whole conversation, and you're dealing with maybe a lot of
Well,
people
yeah,
that
I was explaining the genomic project to donors before I had Copilot to summarize it for me.
back in the day, in the old days, we didn't have this Copilot.
I used that black box analogy quite a few times.
Yeah.
I was like, how can I explain this?
Did people get it? Did they just look at you like, uh-huh, sounds really interesting?
Not every donor is gonna get it, just like not every person's gonna get it. And
Yeah.
and some people want to fund patient care. They want to fund the places at the hospital where we're really taking care of patients. And I completely understand it. They might want to fund, a patient room, an apartment room. But there are a lot of donors out there and a lot of people out there that are really intrigued about the innovation that we can have in research by using data in a different way. And that's essentially what we were trying to figure out. So now we have a whole Centers of Excellence in Data-Driven Discoveries. It's a whole research initiative. We're looking at really expanding the number of labs that are utilizing all of this data, and really having people that specialize in using data partnered with our researchers. So a lot of the path forward is figuring out how to use this complex set of data to make better informed decisions for precision medicine.
Well, and I think a lot of times you hear about St. Jude and you think about the patients, but you almost don't even realize the impact that the research is making on the entire world, right? Like there's just so much more to St. Jude, even beyond the patient care, that is
I
impactful.
know. It gets exciting. Some of these cancers are rare. So let's even take Ewing sarcoma, which is what I had. There's only about 200 cases worldwide every year, and it only impacts a very like 8 to 12 in age range typically. So that's a small sample group. If you're one research institution looking at maybe, let's say you have 10 cases there at most,
Yeah.
you're a research hospital, if you're not sharing that information with other hospitals and collaborating, it'd be really hard to make progress on finding the right treatments and doing the right research there. So there are a lot of hospitals that collaborate across the globe. St. Jude has done a really good job of immediately partnering with Microsoft to put all that genomics data in the cloud and then
Mhm.
creating some analytics tools. So taking that data and applying some analytics tools to have it come out in a way that researchers can take action on right away.
Yeah. Well, if we could maybe wrap up on one question, I think I'd love to
Okay.
hear how do you see AI helping St. Jude tackle challenges that maybe feel impossible today?
Yeah. Um,
Or what are the moments that bring, that mission back into focus, remind you why this matters?
let me frame it like this. Today was a hard day at work today. We have a lot of people trying to make some critical year-end decisions, and it's a lot of stress.
Hmm.
So when I was preparing for this, I said, okay, how can I get regrounded? And I pulled up a picture on my phone that I'd taken the last time I was on campus. And it was a stressful day then. And I think a lot of our researchers and our doctors could relate to this too. They're seeing a lot of cases every day that are hard. So I was pulling out of campus as it was beginning to be evening. So it was starting to get dark and all the lights were coming on campus. We have a lot of Christmas lights that we put out because families are here over the holidays.
Hmm.
And I looked to my left. I was picking up another team member in one of our vehicles. I looked to my left and there was a little girl sitting in a wheelchair next to her mom in one of the gazebos that was lit up. And she was getting her picture taken. I'm sure we're going to use that in one of um, our pictures, or it might have been a family picture. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we do what we do. So, however we can use AI to get us there faster, that's what we're driven to do. And that's why we want to do what we do want to do, but we cannot lose those authentic connections.
Yeah.
We
It's
can't ever see our patients as their genome structures.
yeah, always balancing using the tools and the technology that you have with and maybe just enabling more of that core connection that is at the foundation of everything you're doing to be able to enable St. Jude to do what it does.
And that's how we don't lose balance of forgetting to check that data or forgetting to apply it to real life, is keeping the authentic connections in the forefront.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like with AI, that is just a constant thing we're coming back to no matter what organization we're talking to. The human element has to stay, it has to remain, and we have to put it at the core focus. And hopefully, all of these tools, these technology allow us to do more of that, not automate that, not move over top of that, right? But really foundationally enable that human connection that is at the core
And
of so
do more human connection because AI is doing more behind the scenes faster.
we have more time, we have less stress, we have the ability to focus in that way. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, this has been a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much for your
Or
time.
Kirsty, can we just we just do it all the time?
I love it. Yes, yes. And we talk about AI all day, every day when we're
We
together
really
too,
do.
on how we use it for, automating our kids' school lunch account filling and, like
Yep.
all these things that we're using it all day. So always love to be able to connect with you on those things and talk about all our fun life hacks and just to hear about the impact you're having in the world and in through your job. So thank you, St. Jude.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on our episode of AI Meets Reality. So Erica, huge thanks to you
Yay.
for sharing your insights and your story. Thank you. If you liked what you heard, do me a favor, rate, review, subscribe. This podcast is a collaboration between BDO and Cloud Wars. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Kirsty Tiernan, and I will see you next time on AI Meets Reality, where real leaders, real stories, and real AI come together.